There are still places on Earth that leave even the most modern minds utterly baffled. Ancient structures so massive they defy explanation. Mysterious artifacts that challenge everything we thought we knew, and entire civilizations that once shone brilliantly, only to vanish without a trace. These aren't just myths or fairy tales. They're real mysteries, documented by archaeologists and historians alike. From colossal stone blocks that even today's machines struggle to move, to sunken cities hidden deep beneath the ocean waves, history is full of puzzles that break all the rules. Today we're diving headfirst into these unsolved ancient enigmas. So, buckle up and get ready for a journey that will stretch your imagination to its limits. And hey, if you want incredible luck on this adventure, make sure to like and subscribe before the video ends. Let's get started. Beneath the green hills of Shanxi Province, China, lies a place where history and legend have yet to reveal their deepest secrets, the tomb of Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor to unite all of China more than 2,000 years ago. This mausoleum has remained perfectly intact, protected not only by an imposing army of terracotta warriors, but also by countless stories of hidden treasures, deadly traps, and secrets never revealed. While the famous terracotta army has been unearthed and become one of the world's greatest archaeological wonders, the central chamber of the tomb, where the most powerful emperor in Chinese history rests, remains completely untouched and unexplored. The tomb complex, located near Shiang, spans an immense area of 56 square kilometers. Construction began when Qin Shi Huang was only 13 years old and was only completed after his death. According to ancient records, over 700,000 laborers were mobilized to create this mausoleum, a figure far surpassing any other structure of its time. Surrounding the tomb are hundreds of burial pits, each filled with clay soldiers, war horses, and chariots. Every single statue was crafted with meticulous detail, their faces and armor distinct from one another, as if each figure had truly lived in history. The historian Sima Qian once described the tomb as a magnificent underground palace, a microcosm of the emperor's entire kingdom. According to the chronicles, inside the tomb are flowing rivers of mercury representing the great rivers of China, designed to run eternally through the chamber. The ceiling of the tomb was inlaid with pearls to recreate a sky full of stars. Treasures, palaces, and even officials were buried to serve the emperor in the afterlife. There were even automatic traps, like crossbows set to fire at intruders, protecting the secrets of the tomb from anyone who dared enter. Legend has it that many craftsmen who built the tomb were buried alive afterward to ensure no one could ever reveal its true entrance. Today, modern surveys using advanced technology have confirmed that beneath the massive mound lies a mysterious structure, and the soil in the area contains unusually high concentrations of mercury, perfectly matching Sima Qian's ancient descriptions. Yet, not a single archaeologist has dared to dig deeper. The main reason is fear that any attempt to excavate the tomb now would result in the permanent destruction of whatever remains inside. When the terracotta army was first discovered, the vibrant colors of the statues vanished within minutes of exposure to air. Furthermore, the mercury in the soil poses a significant danger to both people and the environment if not handled with extreme care. The consequences could be akin to a massive chemical spill. Moreover, preservation technology for fragile materials such as silk, ancient paper, or important documents is still not truly ready for such an enormous task. Beyond scientific reasons, there are also deep spiritual and cultural factors at play. In China, imperial tombs are considered sacred ground, and disturbing them is seen as an affront to the ancestors and to national history itself. The tomb of Qin Shi Huang is even more special because he is a symbol of unity and absolute power. Not only ordinary citizens, but even the government are extremely cautious about releasing survey data. Many believe there may be secrets within the tomb that the world is simply not ready to face. Some bold theories even suggest the tomb could hold ancient knowledge far beyond our understanding, or perhaps evidence of a once advanced civilization or lost technologies. Today, millions of visitors come each year to marvel at the terracotta army, yet the central burial mound believed to hold the emperor's actual tomb, still stands undisturbed, a silent reminder of a past filled with mystery and power. Within the quiet vaults of Sweden's National Library lies a book so large, so mysterious, and so steeped in legend that it has haunted historians for nearly 800 years. This is the Codex Gigas, also known as the Devil's Bible. Regarded as the largest surviving medieval manuscript on Earth, the Codex Gigas is a colossal enigma. It weighs nearly 75 kilograms and stands 92 centimeters tall, 50 centimeters wide, and 22 centimeters thick. You can't turn a page without using both hands and likely your full strength. It's estimated that the parchment alone came from over 160 calf skins. But size isn't what earned it its ominous name. It's what's inside that has made it one of the most feared and legendary books in human history. According to legend, the Codex was written in the 13th century by a Benedictine monk in Bohemia, in what is now the Czech Republic. The monk had committed an unforgivable sin, so terrible that his punishment was to be walled up alive in the monastery. Facing a slow and agonizing death, the monk begged for mercy. He claimed he could redeem himself by writing a book that would contain all human knowledge, from the Bible to medicine, magic, history, and the occult, in a single night. Knowing it was impossible, the monastery granted him the chance. And that night, as the legend goes, the monk made a pact. He sold his soul to the devil, and the devil answered. By dawn, the manuscript was complete, 620 pages, all written in perfect calligraphy, with uniform margins and 0 corrections. To show gratitude, the monk added a chilling full-page portrait of Satan, his glowing eyes, clawed hands, and red tongue now frozen forever in the center of the manuscript. This demonic image is unlike anything found in any religious book from the medieval world. And it's this page that gave the Codex Gigas its infamous name. But is the legend true? Modern scholars believe the Codex was created at the Podlages Monastery around the early 1200s. What still baffles researchers is that the entire manuscript appears to have been written by a single person, with no changes in handwriting or ink tone, something nearly impossible without divine or demonic intervention. Inside the book are the entire Latin Bible, medical texts, ancient histories, magical spells, astrological charts, and even a catalog of demons. Over the centuries, the Codex Gigas has become surrounded by stories of curse and catastrophe. It was taken as war booty by Swedish forces in 1648 during the brutal 30 Years' War and brought to Stockholm, where it still resides today. But some say that wherever the Devil's Bible has gone, disaster has followed, plague, war, the fall of empires, as if the book carries a shadow with it. Today, the Codex Gigas draws historians, theologians, and conspiracy theorists from around the world, each hoping to unlock its secrets. But so far, the manuscript remains silent, its origin still uncertain, its legend very much alive. Until its mystery is fully revealed, the Devil's Bible will remain a chilling symbol of humanity's darkest questions, of knowledge, punishment, and the price one might pay to know everything. Beneath the vast skies and endless steppes of Mongolia lies a mystery that has endured for more than 800 years, the lost tomb of Genghis Khan, the man who built the greatest empire the world has ever known. And yet, despite being one of history's most legendary conquerors, his final resting place has vanished without a trace. How could the burial site of such a powerful figure disappear so completely? And if it were found, could it truly contain the legendary treasures gathered from across the vast Mongol Empire? Somewhere in the wild mountains and boundless grasslands of northern Mongolia, the tomb of Genghis Khan remains hidden from archaeologists, explorers, and treasure hunters alike. He died in 1227, yet to this day, no one has been able to pinpoint where he was laid to rest. Unlike the towering pyramids of Egypt or the terracotta army of Qin Shi Huang, Genghis Khan's tomb left not the slightest sign above ground. According to legend, the great Khan himself demanded to be buried in the total secrecy, leaving no mark for future generations to find. Even the secret history of the Mongols, the oldest known chronicle of Mongolian history, only records the year of his death, not where he was buried. Marco Polo, who lived under the reign of Genghis Khan's grandson, once wrote that even the Mongols themselves didn't know the tomb's location. Folktales paint a chilling picture. After Genghis Khan died during a military campaign in northern China, his body was returned to Mongolia. Along the way, every person who crossed paths with the funeral procession was reportedly killed to protect the secret. Some stories go further, claiming that the 2,000 people who attended the funeral were executed afterward, and those who carried out the killings were themselves silenced. To erase all traces, 1,000 horses were supposedly driven across the burial ground. Other tales speak of rivers being diverted to flood the site, or forests planted to hide it forever. One haunting legend tells of a young camel buried alive beside the emperor. For years after, the mother camel returned to that secret place, and in doing so, helped his descendants find the tomb once more. Still, no record or document has ever confirmed its location. Over the decades, researchers have proposed countless theories. Most believe the tomb lies somewhere near Burkhan Khaldun, the sacred mountain where Genghis Khan was born and once prayed before uniting the Mongol tribes. Archaeologists have used drones, satellite imagery, and even crowdsourced data from tens of thousands of volunteers. Yet all that remains are guesses and anomalies. No excavation has succeeded. One major obstacle is cultural. Local residents consider the land sacred and strongly oppose any attempt to disturb it. The region itself, the Khenti Mountains, remains a remote, nearly inaccessible wilderness. Some believe the tomb, if found, could rival the treasures of ancient pharaohs, containing priceless artifacts, weapons, scrolls, and relics from every corner of the empire. But others warn of curses, guardian spirits, and strange accidents that have befallen those who dare search for it. To the Mongolian people, however, one truth stands above all. Genghis Khan was not merely a conqueror. He laid the foundation for a united legal code, religious freedom, postal systems, and paper currency. He is a national hero, and his final wishes, to rest in peace, undisturbed, are sacred. So, while technology has advanced and the world has grown smaller, the tomb of Genghis Khan remains untouched. Protected by the silence of the steppes, the whisper of wild rivers, and the ghostly thunder of hooves galloping through the winds of history. Imagine a time 10,000 years ago, when the North Sea was not sea at all. Where ocean waves now roll endlessly, there once stretched a vast green world, a land of forests, rivers, and endless plains, a land called Doggerland, now swallowed by the sea and forgotten by history. Some call it Europe's Atlantis. Doggerland once connected Britain to continental Europe, a massive region stretching from the coasts of Scotland all the way to the Netherlands. For thousands of years, it was home to Mesolithic hunter-gatherers. They fished in quiet lakes, tracked mammoth and red deer across sunlit meadows, and built communities beneath towering trees. It was a paradise, until nature reclaimed it. When the last ice age ended, the world began to change. Glaciers melted and sea levels rose, slowly, then suddenly. Around 8,200 years ago, disaster struck. A massive underwater landslide off the coast of Norway, known as the Storegga Slide, triggered a towering tsunami. It roared across the North Sea, swallowing valleys and forests. Much of Doggerland was drowned in hours. The rest eroded away over centuries as the waters crept higher and higher. By 5,500 BC, Doggerland was gone. Its rivers, its animals, its people, all buried beneath the waves. But traces remain. From the 19th century onward, fishermen dragging nets across the North Sea began hauling up strange relics, mammoth tusks, stone tools, antlers, bones, faint echoes of a forgotten land. In recent years, archaeologists have used oil company seismic data to reconstruct the ancient seabed, mapping hills, river valleys, even ancient coastlines. In 2019, a submerged forest was discovered, its trees preserved in the darkness beneath the waves. And yet, no cities, no temples, no graves, no names, just silence. Some believe Doggerland may be the real inspiration behind Plato's Atlantis, a prosperous land that vanished beneath the sea. Though controversial, the theory remains captivating. Others see Doggerland as a warning, a reminder of what happens when climate shifts and seas rise. A message from prehistory to the modern world, that even great lands can vanish, and that nothing built by humans is permanent. Today, divers, scientists, and treasure hunters continue to search. Each flint blade or fossilized footprint they uncover is a whisper from a vanished world, proof that Doggerland was more than just a land bridge. It was a thriving culture, a civilization lost not to war or conquest, but to the rising tide. The question remains, how many more forgotten worlds lie beneath our oceans, waiting to be rediscovered? Hidden beneath layers of soil and centuries of secrecy in Shanxi Province, China, lies what may be one of the greatest archaeological mysteries of modern history. It is known simply as the White Pyramid, a structure so enormous and enigmatic, its very existence has been the subject of controversy, suppression, and endless speculation. The story begins in 1945, at the close of World War II. While on a transport mission over the remote mountains of northwestern China, American pilot James Gaussman reported seeing something extraordinary in the valley below. A colossal pyramid with 4 smooth faces that gleamed white under the sunlight, reflecting like polished stone. 2 years later, in 1947, another pilot, Maurice Shiang, confirmed Gaussman's account. He even captured a series of blurry black and white photographs showing a massive angular structure in the heart of the valley. When these photos surfaced in the West, they caused a media storm. Scholars, journalists, and adventurers alike began asking the same question. What is this pyramid, and why had the world never heard of it? But the answers were elusive. As the war ended and China's borders tightened, foreign researchers were barred from the region. The Chinese government officially stated that the area contained nothing more than ancient imperial tombs, burial mounds from the Qin and Tang dynasties, built between 200 BC and 900 AD. They denied the existence of any pyramid like the one described by the American pilots. And yet, satellite images released decades later by both Western and Russian sources revealed something remarkable. Across the landscape of Shanxi, pyramid-like structures rise from the earth, some measuring over 100 meters tall, far larger than Egypt's famed pyramids. Among them, one stands out, a massive formation that many believe matches the pilot's description. Its base is estimated to be over 450 meters across, and its height may have once reached 300 meters, dwarfing even the Great Pyramid of Giza. Local legends speak of a pyramid once covered in pure white limestone or clay, a shining monument that reflected the sun and stood in stark contrast to the gray mountains around it. Today, that brilliant white layer is gone, lost to erosion and time, but the stories remain. So, who built the White Pyramid? Mainstream archaeologists argue that it was simply a burial mound, built to honor ancient Chinese emperors, a show of imperial power. But more speculative researchers suggest something far more mysterious. Some believe the White Pyramid could be the relic of a lost civilization, older than China's first dynasties. Others see it as an astronomical observatory, its orientation aligned with stars, just like the pyramids of Egypt and Central America. A few even go so far as to suggest that the pyramid was built with extraterrestrial guidance, pointing to its size, symmetry, and alleged magnetic anomalies. But the truth remains buried. To this day, no foreign archaeologist has been granted full access to excavate the structure. Many tombs in the region remain sealed, guarded not just by policy, but by belief. In traditional Chinese culture, disturbing an emperor's resting place is believed to bring disaster. That belief has helped keep the White Pyramid closed off from the world. Yet, satellite imagery, leaked reports, and covert expeditions have only intensified the global fascination. Is this pyramid simply a misunderstood burial site? Or does it hold the secrets to a forgotten chapter of human history? Until its stones are uncovered and its secrets revealed, the White Pyramid of China will remain one of Earth's greatest unsolved mysteries. A towering symbol of all that still lies hidden beneath the dust of time. In the summer of 2018, on a seemingly ordinary construction site in Alexandria, Egypt, workers made a discovery that would grip the world with fascination, fear, and endless speculation. As excavators broke ground on Al-Kermili Street, deep beneath layers of earth and rubble, they uncovered something extraordinary. A massive black granite sarcophagus, measuring over 2.7 meters long, 1.5 meters wide, and nearly 2 meters tall, weighing close to 30 tons. This was no ordinary tomb. It was the largest sarcophagus ever discovered in Alexandria, and perhaps the most mysterious. Beside it lay a weathered alabaster bust, its face smoothed by time, stripped of all detail, offering no clue to the identity of the person or persons buried within. Even stranger, this giant coffin bore no inscriptions, no hieroglyphs, no carvings, nothing, and just cold black stone, sealed in silence. Egyptian authorities quickly surrounded the site. Was this the long-lost tomb of Alexander the Great himself? The legendary founder of Alexandria, whose burial site had been lost for more than 2 millennia? Or was it a cursed grave, sealed for good reason? Conspiracy theories exploded across the internet. Some whispered of ancient plagues, others of hidden royalty, assassinated nobles, or forbidden rituals buried in shame. Even more bizarrely, there were those who hoped to drink the liquid inside, believing it would grant them supernatural powers. Finally, in July 2018, the black lid was lifted. The world held its breath. There was no treasure, no golden mask, no perfectly preserved pharaoh. Instead, what emerged was a putrid red-brown sludge, a mix of sewage water and decomposed human remains. The smell was unbearable. Inside the sarcophagus were 3 skeletons, 2 men and 1 woman, stacked awkwardly on top of each other. There were no burial goods, no wrappings, no signs of ceremony, just bones. Tests revealed the bodies dated back to around the 4th century BC, placing them at the dawn of Alexandria's golden age. One skull bore signs of a violent injury, possibly from battle. But that only raised more questions. Why were these seemingly ordinary people buried in such an extraordinary coffin? The black granite itself had been quarried from Aswan, hundreds of miles to the south. Transporting and carving such a material required incredible wealth and labor. So, who were these people? Some scholars believe they were members of a forgotten noble family, their identities lost in the chaos of war or political erasure. Others suggest they were soldiers, buried hastily in turbulent times. And then, there are those who think this tomb was deliberately left anonymous, its silence a warning, not a mistake. Even now, no one can say for certain. The black sarcophagus of Alexandria remains a symbol of our deepest historical mysteries, a dark monument to forgotten lives, vanished power, and the enduring secrecy of Egypt's ancient past. Beneath the very streets of one of the world's oldest cities, history whispered once more, and the world was forced to listen. Because sometimes the deadliest secrets aren't found in gold-lined tombs, but in silence. In the dry, windswept plains of New Mexico, a discovery in the 1930s would ignite one of the greatest archaeological mysteries in American history. Buried beneath layers of ancient earth near the city of Clovis, archaeologists unearthed strange, finely crafted stone spear points, sharper, more precise, and more advanced than anything seen before in prehistoric North America. They were soon dated to 13,000 years ago, and their creators would become known as the Clovis people. To this day, no one knows their true name. We only know their tools and the silent ruins they left behind. The Clovis people were hunters of giants, tracking and killing colossal Ice Age animals now long extinct: mammoths, giant bison, North American camels, saber-toothed cats. Their weaponry and stoneworking techniques were so advanced, modern researchers still struggle to replicate them. Flint knappers, those who study ancient stone tools, describe Clovis craftsmanship as a lost art. And then, they vanished. Within just a few hundred years, the Clovis culture disappeared completely from the archaeological record. No graves, no ruins, no descendants, only silence. Why? One theory blames climate collapse. At the end of the last ice age, around 11,000 BC, The world warmed rapidly. Glaciers melted, rain patterns shifted. The great animals the Clovis depended on died out, and with them, their way of life. Another theory points to the sky. Evidence of microscopic glass, carbon-rich soil, and massive wildfire scars have been found across North America at Clovis-era sites. Some believe a meteorite or comet struck the Earth, triggering continent-wide destruction, plunging temperatures, and a sudden collapse of ecosystems. Could the Clovis people have been wiped out in a single cataclysmic moment? Others believe the truth lies in migration, that the Clovis culture didn't vanish but evolved, splintering into smaller, scattered groups that blended into new tribes and traditions, leaving behind their distinct tools and lifestyles. But without clear evidence, the mystery endures. The Clovis people are not just a chapter in American history. They are a symbol of the fragility of civilization, a reminder that no culture, no matter how skilled, is immune to the forces of nature, time, or catastrophe. Today, as archaeologists sift through soil and bone, chasing shadows of the past, the Clovis mystery remains unsolved. But it asks questions we still struggle to answer. How do civilizations die? And more importantly, how do they survive? The Clovis people came before cities, before written language, before even the stories passed down by the first Native American tribes. And yet, they were here. And then, they were gone. All that remains are stone blades, scattered bones, and a silence older than history itself. In the remote, desolate reaches of Death Valley, beneath a blistering sun and an endless sky, a mystery has played out in silence. For over 100 years, across the cracked, dry floor of Racetrack Playa, stones move on their own. No footsteps, no windstorms, no visible force. Just trails etched into the earth, winding, curving, proof of motion, without witness. They're known as the sailing stones. Some rocks leave arrow-straight paths, others snake, turn, or loop back as if guided by an unseen hand. Some stones rest in place for decades, untouched. Then, without warning, they slide across the desert as though waking from a long slumber. For decades, scientists, explorers, and conspiracy theorists have searched for answers. Some believed in hurricane-force winds. Others blamed algae, magnetism, or even aliens. But none of it ever explained why the stones, some weighing up to 320 kilograms, could glide across solid ground. In 2011, a team led by Richard and Jim Norris launched the first true scientific expedition to solve the mystery. They placed GPS trackers on 15 stones, installed a weather station, and rigged time-lapse cameras across the playa, expecting the desert to test their patience for a decade or more. But in December 2013, something incredible happened. After a rare winter storm, as night fell, the shallow pool of rain across the playa began to freeze, forming a thin sheet of ice, just a few millimeters thick. The researchers called it window pane ice. Then, as the morning sun rose, that ice began to melt and crack, pushed by a gentle breeze. And the rocks began to move. Right before their eyes, over 60 stones glided slowly across the surface, drifting with the cracking ice, leaving fresh tracks in the mud. One stone traveled 224 meters and left a trail that would last for years before being erased by the wind and time. This delicate choreography of water, ice, and wind had finally revealed the secret. There was no need for magic or extraterrestrial engineering, just the quiet, patient work of nature itself. But the mystery isn't entirely over. Why don't all the stones move at once? Why do some stay still for decades while others travel? And how do the heaviest boulders, as large as a man, manage to move at all with just melting ice and light breezes? Racetrack Playa remains a place where science and wonder collide. A dry lake bed where the earth writes its secrets in the sand, and then slowly erases them again. It's a reminder that our planet still holds mysteries, and sometimes the answers are just as beautiful as the questions. In the winter of 1890, in the quiet village of Castelnau-le-Lez in southern France, something was unearthed that would rattle the world of science and stir the imagination of generations to come. Anthropologist Georges Vacher de la Pouge had no idea what he was about to uncover as he examined a Bronze Age burial mound. From the cold earth, he pulled 3 enormous bone fragments, a femur, a tibia, and part of what appeared to be a human arm. But these weren't ordinary bones. According to measurements later published in the respected journal La Nature, they were twice the size of normal human bones. The femur alone measured 14 centimeters across, with a circumference of 16 centimeters. Based on these dimensions, Vacher de la Pouge calculated that the individual must have stood over 11 feet tall, a human giant weighing several hundred kilograms. Was this truly the fossilized remnant of a giant that once walked the earth? Or a shocking scientific mistake? The fragments were sent to the University of Montpellier for expert analysis. Leading zoologists, paleontologists, and anatomists of the time all reviewed the evidence. Their conclusion? The bones likely belonged to an extraordinarily tall human, or perhaps an entire race of them. Though some raised the possibility of pathological gigantism, the sheer size and structure of the bones defied easy explanation. And then, more discoveries followed. Just a few years later, reports emerged from near Montpellier of giant skulls and massive bone fragments, allegedly from humans standing between 10 and 15 feet tall. These remains were sent to the French Academy of Sciences, but then, mysteriously, vanished without a trace. No modern lab ever re-examined them. No official record tells us where they are today. And so, the mystery deepened. In 2022, anthropologist Catherine Haken proposed a more rational explanation. Perhaps the bones were misidentified, possibly from a giant prehistoric bear. After all, in the 19th century, anatomical knowledge was limited, and such mistakes weren't uncommon. But here's the thing. Why did so many experts at the time insist the bones were human? And why, in an era of advanced scientific tools, has no modern re-examination ever been done? To this day, the bones of Castelnau are missing. Their disappearance leaves behind only questions and legends. Hidden deep beneath the green rice fields of Leu County, in the Zhejiang province of China, lies one of the greatest archaeological puzzles of the modern era, an underground marvel that continues to defy explanation. This is the Leu Caves Complex, sometimes called the Leu Caves, and its discovery was entirely accidental. In the summer of 1992, a local farmer decided to drain a water-filled pit near his home, hoping to reclaim some land. But what he found beneath the still surface wasn't just mud and stone. It was an enormous cavern, unlike anything ever seen before. The walls were perfectly smooth, the surfaces etched with uniform patterns, so precise that they looked as if carved with modern machinery. Word spread quickly. Villagers began draining more of the water-filled pits nearby, and soon, something astonishing emerged. A network of over 20 massive caves, each one carved by human hands. Together, they formed an entire underground complex, an ancient city buried in silence. What makes the Leu Caves so mysterious is not just their size, but their engineering perfection. Each chamber rises more than 30 meters high, supported by intricate stone pillars and featuring flawlessly shaped ceilings and walls. The surfaces are covered in parallel, wave-like carvings that run seamlessly from floor to ceiling, as though the builders were following an exact blueprint. Yet, here's the strangest part. No tools have ever been found, no inscriptions, no human remains, nothing to explain who built them or why. Archaeologists estimate that the caves are over 2,000 years old, possibly dating to the Qin or early Han dynasty. But there is no mention of them in any ancient Chinese historical record, not a single document, not a single line. How could a project of this scale, a feat that would have required tens of thousands of laborers, vanish completely from history? Some have suggested they were grain storage chambers. Others believe they were military shelters, forgotten tombs, or secret religious sites. A few researchers, especially in the West, have proposed that the caves were sacred ceremonial centers, never meant to be recorded. But one thing stands out. The identical carvings in every cave suggest a single vision behind the construction. A unified effort, a level of planning and execution that far exceeded the known abilities of civilizations at that time. Could this be the work of a lost civilization? one we've never even identified? Or were the builders using technologies now lost to time? To this day, no definitive answer has been found. The Leu Caves lie in silence beneath the rice fields of rural China, a monumental enigma untouched by modern interpretation. They remind us of something profound, that human history still holds secrets, entire chapters unwritten, forgotten by time, waiting for someone to ask the right question, or dig just a little deeper. Until then, the Leu Caves remain one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of the ancient world, a silent monument to knowledge we may have once possessed, and somehow lost. And so, the veil drops on these ancient enigmas, but the questions they scream into the silence of millennia only grow louder. We stand on the edge of a vast, unexplored ocean of human history, and what we've glimpsed today are but faint glimmers from its unfathomable depths. These aren't just mysteries, they are cosmic challenges. Challenges that dare us to admit how little we truly know, and how much we may owe to forgotten giants whose shoulders we unknowingly stand upon. But what if the answers aren't lost? Just waiting for a new kind of seeing, a bolder kind of thinking. So I ask you, which of these forgotten narratives pulls at the fabric of your understanding? Because the greatest discoveries often begin with the most audacious questions. Let yours echo in the comments below. Become part of the unraveling. The quest to decode Earth's most profound secrets is a relentless fire. If that fire burns in you, if you're ready to challenge the accepted and embrace the astonishing, then forge this path with us. Subscribe, ring the bell of discovery, and be there when we next peel back the curtain on the unbelievable. Until then, look at the world with new eyes. Question everything, because the echoes of lost worlds surround us, and the greatest adventure is the one that rewrites history.